You see, hey baby, can I hold your hand? Hey, so my wife, she loves Target. Why are y'all sitting down? Why are you doing that? I said grab a neighbor. My wife, she loves Target. And there have been moments where she said that we were going to Target to grab just a few things. And as we are on our way to the just a few things, there are things called the clearance section and the home decor section and the candy section. That while we are on our way to the necessities, my wife sometimes has the tendency to get a little bit distracted by the impulses. Am I lying? No, I'm not lying, okay. And I remember when I was younger and I would go to the grocery store with my mom, that there were times we'd be walking through and I know that we were there. I love me some air fryer chicken. I hope you guys realize. And I know that we were there to get some of the Tyson Anytizers honey barbecue nuggets. I'm going to call it out by name. They don't know nothing about that. But we'd be on our way to get those nuggets. And as we're walking down the aisles, I'd get a little bit distracted. And as we'd be walking, I'd start to reach for something that I wasn't supposed to reach for. And what my mom would do is say, you don't need that. And I remember there's been times where as me and my wife have been walking through Target, that what I've done on purpose is I've grabbed her by the hand. And as we walk down the aisles, I say, babe, you don't need that. I pull her a little bit closer to me to make sure that she doesn't get distracted by the impulses, but walks towards the destiny. You see, this is why you need some people that will keep you connected to the church, so that they'll say, no, that boyfriend, you don't need that. Uh-oh. They'll say, no, that party, I'm sorry, you don't need that. Oh, no, I'm sorry, that function, you don't need that. Oh, no, I'm sorry, that friend group, you don't need that. You need some people that will grab you by the hand and say, no, that's not where you're supposed to go. God has a destiny for you. And I just need some people in this room to grab your neighbor and pull them and say, no, you don't need that. God has a destiny for you. God has a destination for you. God has a spot just for you. And you don't need to go nowhere else. I need to keep you in the presence of God. Somebody say, you don't need that. Just look at somebody and say, you don't need that. You don't need that. Can I tell you what you do need? You need the God that will supply all your needs. You thought that you needed more sleep? No. You need more rest from the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Oh, you thought that you needed more medicine? And I'm not saying medicine ain't good for you if the doctor prescribed it, but also you need some prayer so that Jehovah Rapha can get into your life and heal every sickness that is on the inside of you. Can you look at somebody and say, you need Jesus? Okay. Question. What do you need? Jesus. What do you need? Jesus. What do you need? Jesus. Okay. That's great, because we say that on Resurrection Sunday. But what are you going to say on Wednesday? You see, on Resurrection Sunday, everybody says we need Jesus. But what's going to happen on Wednesday when anxiety comes up against you again? Are you going to go back to the weed that keeps you anxious, or are you going to go to the Prince of Peace? You see, we say on Resurrection Sunday, what do we need? Jesus! And then on Thursday, we're back to the bottles. We say, what do we need? Jesus! And then on Friday, we're back to pornography. We say, what do we need? Jesus! And then we apply to 7 different jobs that take up all of our time, so we can't even get into the presence of God. That on this day, the whole world is saying, we need Jesus. But what are you going to say next Sunday? Where Where will you be next Sunday? Because I don't know about you, but I don't just need Jesus on Sunday. I need Jesus on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and twice on Friday, 3 times on Saturday. Come on, is there anybody in this room that can say, I don't just want him on Sunday, I need him every day? Every day. I remember growing up. I mean, I grew up in this church. I'm a pastor's kid. My dad is a senior pastor of this church. For 19 years of my life, I was at church every single Sunday. But here's the thing. I was at church every single Sunday, but I was still addicted on Wednesday. Because I thought, just Sundays is enough. Just Sundays I'll come in. And even on those Sundays, I would just come. There wasn't even worship. I wouldn't worship. I wasn't there praying. I was just like, I made it. That's enough. The greatest things in your life require the greatest level of sacrifice. We can't be a people that only gives God one day out of our month. If we only give him one day out of our month, the other 30 days we're lost. If we only give him a portion of our lives, then the rest of our lives are lost. And I'm not saying this because every Easter I know pastors talk about this all the time, that we know on Easter Sunday you're going to see a huge boom. Everyone goes to church on Easter. I know so many pastors are like, yeah, but how many are going to show up the next week? That's not even what I'm trying to talk about right here. I'm trying to just let you know that you think that you need these things in this world, but God tells us the only thing that we need is him. And if we can recognize that what we need is more of Jesus, then it's pretty easy for us to show up to church on a Sunday. It's easy for us to wake up in the morning and pray, because I can't go a day without his presence. If I go a day without his presence, then I'll go back to the way that I used to be. I can stand here today and say I'm 6 years sober because I spend time in his presence. Now, I always love to share my testimony because I know that there's people in this room that are probably dealing with addiction right now. And so many times we show up to church, and we show up to church with the expectation that everyone is good, everyone is holy, everyone is saved. But no, if that was the case, then that means the church isn't doing their job right. The church is supposed to be a hospital. It's supposed to be a place where the lost get found and the sick get healed. And I can stand here today and say, I used to be sick, but now I am healed. Come on, is there anybody else in this room that has a testimony that I used to be sick, but now I've given my life to Jesus? Can you look at somebody and say, what do you need? You see, when we look at John chapter 3, and this is where I'll close right here. In John chapter 3, as Jesus is speaking to Nicodemus, he says this word. He says, unless you are born again. Unless. Everybody say unless. When you see this word unless, it means that if on the other side of that word, those requirements need to be met, which means you need to be born again. That it is a necessity, that you need to be born again for 2 reasons. Number 1, Jesus lays out, in order to see the kingdom, you must be born again. But then number 2, he says, in order to enter the kingdom, you must be born again. When Jesus was teaching the disciples how to pray, he told them to pray, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. In order to see his kingdom, you have to be born again. In order to enter into his kingdom, you have to be born again. And I think that there is a problem within our generation, and I'm not saying our generation in terms of like the 18 to 25-year-olds. I mean this dispensation of believers all across the world. This dispensation of just people all across the world. That I don't think there's enough people that are desiring his kingdom. And I think the reason they don't desire his kingdom is because they haven't been able to see his kingdom. It's really hard to want something that you've never seen. That's why there's ads all over the place, because they want you to see something so that you'll desire it. But God is not a God that wants to fight for your attention. He already created you. So I think it's a disservice that we will pay to remove ads off of our Hulu, but we won't pay the price to get into the presence of God. That we will pay to remove ads and distractions from other spaces. But when it comes to Sundays, and when it comes to morning prayers, and when it comes to living a life that is devoted to God, we're not willing to pay the price to see the kingdom, to enter the kingdom. I want to let you know that the greatest decision that you could ever make in your life is to ask God to make sure that you're born again, to accept His Spirit on the inside of you so that you can be born again.